So what's up people, and welcome to another Warframe video. So this video is quite exciting for me. I do need to thank a fellow YouTube viewer and a Warframe player named Scrappy Coco PS4 for leaving a comment during my Corinth video to take a look at the Arca Plasmor. And I tried the gun out, and I do admit this is a really nice gun. So thank you very much, Scrappy Coco. I didn't know too much about the gun until you informed me, and I do have to admit this is a really nice gun. This has become my go-to weapon for most of the endless missions. Now the Arca Plasmor is classified as a shotgun, and as such it has many of the unusual characteristics that a shotgun does have. It has a very limited shooting range, and it also has somewhat a slower fire rate as well as a long reload time. And when you first try it out, you start wondering exactly what is all the hype with regards to this gun. But as you keep on leveling up this weapon and formatting it and maxing out its mods, you start realizing that this gun is all about damage. Now, you could say that about a lot of shotguns, but this one has a very unique capability in that it's all about crowd damage. They often classify this as a shotgun, but it's definitely not a shotgun, and I would call this more a plasma cannon. Now the Arca Plasmor is clan tech, so you do have to be in the clan to get it if you want to get it by credits rather than by platinum. And it costs about 15,000 credits like your typical clan tech blueprint. Aside from that, you do have to be a mastery rank of 10 to be able to use this weapon. So it's not I guess the easiest weapon to get, but considering that it is very nice shotgun, or I should say plasma cannon, I think a mastery ranking of 10 is very reasonable. Now one of the reasons why I call the Arca Plasmor a plasma cannon rather than a shotgun is it doesn't have any of the base physical damage of impact, puncture, or slash. Instead it has radiation damage, just like what you would expect from a plasma cannon, and it has a decent amount at 600 points, even at its base level. It also has a really nice critical chance of 22% and a status chance that's even larger at 28%. And finally, unlike a lot of the other shotguns that are very high damage but often single shot, this one has a multi-shot capability. I mean, you could repeat and have several shots in the magazine before you reload, and so this gives a nice balance with regards to the gun. You could design it for, or build it up for status, you could build it up for crits, you could build it up for a combination, and you don't have to worry too much about constantly reloading the gun while you utilize it in your mission. Now, as mentioned previously, similar to a lot of shotguns, it has a limited range. But unlike a lot of shotguns where it falls off but you still get some finite damage, this one has a very limited range in a sense that it goes completely to zero beyond a certain range, and yet once you get within range, you actually have a significant amount of damage. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword, and you may not get any damage once you go beyond a certain distance. However, unlike a lot of shotguns which fall off and then give very little damage even at intermediate range, this one, once it gets within range, you could get, like here, about 8,000 damage points with my mod setup and this particular enemy. So yeah, you could get some pretty decent damage out of this weapon. Once it gets within the range, even at max range, you could get a decent amount of damage. Now, of course, since it is a shotgun, you get a significant damage when you get up close, and as you can see here, yeah, you could get about 24,000 damage points with this, again, mod setup and this particular enemy. So it's about a factor of 3 difference between very close and very far away, or the minimum range and the maximum range. So although you have a limited range, the fall off isn't as severe as a lot of other, sorry, I do like shooting this gun, a lot of other shotguns, and because of that, in many ways I feel that this is more effective. So all of these qualities alone, you know, the high damage, the multi-shot capability, the ability to balance and have a variety of building capabilities, whether it's status or crits or a combination, you know, all that alone make this gun very attractive. However, the thing that I really like about this gun, one of the reasons why I still call it a plasma cannon rather than the shotgun, is because of its like I mentioned, crowd damage capability. I call it a crowd damage capability rather than punch through, because this has a very unique capability of being able to shoot multiple numbers of enemies at once. And that's because it has a 2-meter punch through, but only for people. And the first time I heard that this gun had an insane punch through, I was like, wow, this is great. And I started trying to shoot against, you know, through walls and stuff like that. And it did terrible. I mean, I was like, what the heck is this thing? And it was the first main thing that made me want to go, wow, you know, I'm not sure if I really like this gun or not, because of the fact that I was like shooting through bushes and stuff like that, and wouldn't even shoot through bushes. I had this Grenier standing behind a bush, and I was trying to use this thing to shoot through a bush, and the Grenier was like, what the heck are you doing? And I was like, what the heck is going on, you know? And so, excuse me for a minute, there we go. Okay, so anyway, yeah, yeah, but the nice thing is that it has punch through with people, and so it works really well for missions where you have a huge number of people all running within a close distance, which of course are all these endless missions. Sorry, I'm just kind of running around here. Kind of faltering, not due to the weapon, but due to me. But in any case, yeah, this thing shoots through crowds like yeah, like crazy. I mean, it's really nice. It just blows away multiple numbers of enemies all with one single shot. So of course, you know, you're sitting there going, okay, I got a limited number of shots. I have to reload. You know, it takes a little bit of time to reload. But really, because you can take on so many enemies, or take out so many enemies, all with a few number of shots, it's not all that bad, because you could complete and basically decimate a huge group of enemies, and once it clears out, then you could sit and reload like I'm doing here. And for things like survival missions like I'm doing here in the Void, this turns out to be really good, because the fact that you could find these, you know, little narrow corridors, you know, where all the enemies will be bunched together in one single area, and then you could sit there and just farm them for a relatively decent amount of time, you know. So yeah. This is one of those types of guns that works really well for endless missions. And whether it's the, you know, the mission in the Void, you know, whether it's a mission in the Plains of Eidolon, you know, or whether it's a mission like I recently did with Trinity in the recent new Endless Kuva survival mission. You know, this gun is really nice because it just literally blasts away a tremendous number of enemies all at once. And because its damage is high, it basically eliminates the enemies relatively quickly. And you could, you know, design it for a crit to make it even higher, or you could design it for status, you know, and even if you don't kill them, as you move away, you'll probably be able to take them out or watch them die due to the status events. you know. So yeah, this is a really nice gun, I have to admit. And thank you once again, Scrappy Coco. I mean, this is a gun where in many ways you start getting spoiled because you don't even have to aim all that much. You get this big wave of plasma that kind of shoots out, and it just mows everything down. And so it's kind of like the gun equivalent of the fourth ability for Excalibur, you know, Exalted Blade. It's kind of like having a gun version of that, you know. So yeah, this is a I really like this gun. It's a lot of fun to use, you know, and whenever you're in a situation where you just have to get rid of a lot of enemies all at once, you know, rifles are nice if you're really skilled, and if you have the aiming capability, then you can pick them off, you know, one by one. But every once in a while, for people like me who have terrible aim, you know, this sort of weapon is a godsend because you could just mow everybody down. Okay, so in this video, or these types of videos, there always has to be a mandatory what I modded my weapon with. So I'll show it to you here. Now, I don't suggest anybody to do what I've done here. I put together a radiation only build, mostly because I just wanted to see if this works against terrorists. And as rumor states, it does not, because unless you're really close, you have a hard time aiming for the weak spots because you have such a wide beam. As you can see, I put it to a very high critical chance, and although it has a high status chance, of course terrorists don't care about status. But in any case, you know, this was one of the builds. I don't really use it, but I just wanted to show it. Now, for a more general build, I quickly put together something else. Again, I'm not sure if this is really any good or not, but yeah, this is what I currently quickly put together, and it has a fairly decent amount of damage, and it's kind of varied between radiation, viral, and cold. You know, it's kind of more towards status than it is towards crit, but yeah, it might be actually pretty good. Now, one thing I have recently heard, and I'm not sure if this is really true, let me see if I can find it. I've heard that if you use this mod here, yeah, I guess I have it. I wasn't sure if I had it, but I guess I have it. This Fatal Acceleration, supposedly you could increase the distance of your usability, or the distance of the effectiveness of this Arca Plasmor. It says flight speed, so I'm not exactly sure how this associates with distance, but maybe again, if it's plasma, it's something different. Now, take it with a grain of salt, because I have no idea if this really works or not, and you could test it out yourself, you know. But for the moment, again, mandatory, here's my mod sort of shot, so this is what I wanted to show. And so in closing, you know, if you're interested in a weapon that has some very decent damage capabilities, you know, nearby, you know, and you're okay with using your secondary for really far distances, you know, and on top of that, you know, you're looking for something that has a decent amount of balance, you know. It's not just really devastating for one shot, or it's not multiple shots, but has okay sort of you know, damage capabilities. Or, you know, if you're looking for just crit only, or if you're looking for status only. But if you wanted something more balanced, then you might want to take a look at the Arca Plasmor, because yeah, I think it's a very nice weapon. It's very well balanced. It has a lot of the interesting capabilities of shotguns, but at the same time, it really isn't. It has very unique capabilities that are associated with its plasma blast. And so, yeah, I'm gonna keep this weapon. I definitely will keep this weapon, you know, and I'll probably keep using it in void missions, just because, or endless missions, just because, as you see here, well, it does its job. And so, yeah. Anyway, that's about it for this video, and thank you very much for watching. I'll continue to have more Warframe videos in the future, and I hope you join us at that time. And until the next time, I wish you all the best, happy hunting, and as always, Jaya, nice day everyone.